Hi, everybody. It's Sam from the Organized Artist Company. I'm on just 1 minute early so I can hook us up to the Facebooks. I'm super excited to be talking to you guys today. Let's see where we're at here. Organized Artist Company. Good. It's preparing to live stream the preview. I guess I can. Okay. Entrepreneurship. I'll draw a question about entrepreneurship and anything else. How about that? Okay, go live. Isn't this fun watching me set up the videos? This is the glamour of entrepreneurship. But it's amazing that we can do this, isn't it? Like, what incredible technology. This was not possible when I started doing this full-time in 2009. Believe you me. So I'm really excited. It's prepping. It's thinking about it. If you guys are having any trouble seeing me or hearing me, just you might want to close out your other windows or browsers or anything else that's open, because these video streams are amazing, but they do take up a lot of memory. So, okay. Good. So nice to see you guys here. Oh, look, and there's already people in the chat. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Phil. Hi, Stacy. Sherry says, yeah, the total glam part. Yeah, it's super glamorous for sure. All right. Well, I've got the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and start. Hi. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to start this the way I like to start pretty much everything I do, which is with a little bit of breathing. I just want to, partly it's just lovely to take an opportunity to breathe, but also to acknowledge this time as slightly different than other time. Right? I mean, there's time we spend on Facebook and time we spend noodling around about things, but this is really time to focus on your life. Oh, and there's Leonore. Hi, Leonore.
Hi.
Yay. So to focus on your life and get clear on what's really important to you and what are the steps that you can be taking to create a life that's even more meaningful for you. So let's do our breathing. You ready? So yeah, just center yourself in your chair. You can shift around a little bit just to let your body know, like, oh, we're doing something different now. And you can loosen your hands and loosen the bottom of your feet and soften your jaw and soften your heart and soften your belly. And we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. We'll do that 3 times. I'll count us through it. And if you want to ignore it, that's fine. We'll be done in just a second. But it's a nice thing to breathe. All right, you ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. I have been up since 4 this morning, like buzzing about doing this presentation with you guys. So that helped me like plug into this moment. So some of you may not know Leonore Chia. She's my right hand, team leader, head coach, and otherwise chief genius in charge of the Organized Artist Company. Hi, Leonore.
Hi. So happy to be here. Sorry I was a little late. I was like, I wasn't added as the I was like, oh no, I have to like add myself to the webinar. So I was like doing it on the back end.
again,
talk about entrepreneurship.
the glamorous part, the
Yeah.
super glamorous part. Yeah. Yeah. If any of you are wondering like, oh, I'm worried about starting my own business because I'm concerned that I'll make mistakes or the tech will be complicated. Oh, you will make mistakes.
Well,
and the tech will be complicated.
more than you ever knew you could.
Yeah, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
And if, like me and Samantha, you were once a perfectionist and you love to be an achiever, this will be a great way to work through that.
For real, right? That's what we should offer this, the anti-perfectionist training, in which you can also make money.
Let go or be dragged, people. Let go or be dragged.
Let go or be dragged. That's so funny. Okay, good. So here's what I want to do today. I want to do some teaching around some questions that you may not have been asking yourself. And these are questions that will help you focus on getting more fulfillment out of your life, whether you have a day gig, are ready to leave your day gig, don't have a day gig, or have your own business, don't have your own business, are in sort of the still dreaming stage, wherever you're at in your life. You're a stay-at-home parent or just stay-at-home person. It's going to apply no matter what. And for those of you who aren't so familiar with my teaching, this is one of the things that I quite enjoy about my teaching is that it really does kind of apply to everyone because it's so much inquiry, because it's so much sort of imagination work and diving in. Your answers are right for you no matter where you're at, right? So it's not like I'm overwhelming you with a ton of technical information about how to run Facebook ads that you're going to be like, oh, I'm not ready for this. This is too sudden, right? There are times and places when I'm teaching when I do get into that kind of technical stuff. But for now, this is going to be, I think, sort of globally applicable, and we will get into some of the nitty-gritty practicals stuff. If you haven't met me, my name's Sam Bennett. I'm the CEO of theorganizedartistcompany.com. I'm best-selling author of Get It Done and Start Right Where You Are and a couple other books. I've been doing the Organized Artist Company full-time since 2009. I sort of paddled along kind of helplessly and in deep ignorance for the first 2 years or so. And then I learned a lot in a very short amount of time. I learned a lot the whole time. And then I started to implement what I'd learned, which are two different things, and brought my business over the 6 figures almost immediately. So I was able to double my income and then double it again. And then, have I doubled it again? Probably, almost. So I've done it. I've done it with my own 2 hands. I've done it all by myself. I've done it with no MBA or entrepreneurial training or official anything. I'm not certified in anything. So if you're thinking like, oh, I don't have the training for this, neither did I. I'm an actor, for God's sake. That was my background. I grew up in the theater. I went to theater camp. I went to school for theater. I got a job in theater. I was working actor my whole life. Which meant that I also had a million different other part-time gigs and jobs and projects and shows, and I delivered flowers, and I produced radio dramas, and I was a Whitewater River guide, and I babysat, and I taught improv to kids and improv to grown-ups. And one time I had a job flying back and forth from LA to San Francisco to accumulate frequent flyer miles for somebody. Seriously, that was my job. So really, I had every gig under the planet, and I had no idea that starting my own business would not only be deeply financially fulfilling, but life fulfilling, that having my own business is like the best art project of all time. And if you've been watching the interviews in the True Freedom Symposium, we talk about that a lot. We talk about how it may be hard, it may be heartbreaking, it may be impossible some days, but it is never boring. And it is never, you never don't feel like you're growing. You never don't feel like you're really 100% engaged in what you're doing. Tomas says, Sam is a Whitewater River guide. How fun. It was fun. I have to tell you, that was a great gig. And lots of analogies between whitewater river rafting and being an entrepreneur. Like, you can scout the river as much as you can. You can talk to people who've been down it, but really you just got to get in the boat and row and read the river as closely as you can as you're in it. And know that sometimes you fall out of the boat. It happens. So you're here because you're looking to be a better leader. And you may not have thought of it that way, but you are. You want to be a better leader in your life. You want to be a better leader in your family, in your business, in your career. And leadership is it's about being the Whitewater River Guide. It's about being the one who has a plan and takes action and is able to bring people along for a better world, for the sake of a better world. So you're looking to be a better leader. You're looking for more fulfillment in your life. Like you may have that slightly empty feeling of like, really, is this it? Like, not that things are bad. I think a lot of you would, feel pretty good about your lives. But maybe you want more, And then, like I said, I'll answer as many of your practical questions as I can. Leonore is also certified as an online business manager, which means she's familiar with all the back-end systems that help an online business run. She's worked with me for the last 5, going on 6 years. Yeah. Which in internet business is like a Hollywood marriage. It's like we've been together for 50 years.
Totally. People are like, oh my God, are they still together?
Right, exactly. And all my entrepreneur friends are like, where did you get Leonore again? Did she have a sister? Can I find a Leonore? And I'm like, good luck. I totally won the jackpot when Leonore came up to me. But she's also, and then she also has her own practice. She's certified in internal family systems and as a sexual empowerment educator and an activist. So she's active in a lot of different areas and can speak to a lot of both the inner and outer struggles of entrepreneurship. So she's seen the back end of a lot of businesses.
Totally. Looking under the hood, people.
I just want to get dirty about seeing the back end of something, but then I decided maybe it's not. Okay. Good. There's so many of you here. I'm so delighted. So we also have Dawn Sarah, who's our summit producer. So everything you loved about the True Freedom Symposium is because of Dawn.
Dawn is amazing.
She made the whole thing happen. So she is also here. She has also seen the back end of a lot of businesses. You may have seen her interview in the summit as well. When I got to know her, I was like, oh, you're fascinating. You have to be on the summit too. And so we love Dawn, and she's here. She and I think Michelle Forsyth is also here. Michelle is also a member of our team. So we've got a bunch of people here to help answer your questions, direct you, support you, hand you a Kleenex, whatever it is you need. And I'll try and hop in and out through because we're broadcasting live on Facebook and also on the Zoom. Oh, there's Bonnie Clendenning. Hi, Bonnie. Nice to see you. Good. Dawn says, aw, shucks. You're the cutest. All right. Let's dive into these 7 questions, because as I was been thinking about like what would really be useful to you. I think answering these 7 questions are gonna light you up a little bit, maybe confound you a little bit, and certainly start to provide those sparkly breadcrumbs, right? Because there's no the answer. And anybody who tells you there is bullshitting you. Like, there's no right way to do it. There's no rules. And if you really are invested in right ways and rules, then you want to find a franchise. You want a franchise opportunity, or you want like an MLM, like a multi-level marketing thing, like Cabby or Tupperware or Shackley or something, where they really do take you by the hand and tell you step by step exactly what to do. You will notice, however, that not all those people succeed. Because even when they say, here is the proven system, here is the step-by-step, we'll walk you through this, there's still a lot of something that cannot be predicted, that cannot be explained in advance, that cannot be dictated, and that cannot necessarily even be foreseen. You have to, like I said, you gotta surf, you gotta ride the river the way the river's going. So the more you learn to ask yourself hard questions, take 100% responsibility for yourself and your results, and stay invested in investigation. Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? The more successful you will be across the board, I think. Right? Because we all know those people who just whine and cry, right? They see situations, they see have problems. They're like, oh, this is so terrible. I don't know why my teenager's being like this. I don't know why my job is like this. I don't know why my neighbor's like this. I don't know why my husband is like this. It's like, well, you may notice that you can't really do very much about other people. You can whine at them. You can nag at them. You can make requests. In my experience, almost none of that works. People are generally doing the best they can pretty much all the time. That's the truth. Pretty much everybody is doing pretty much the best they can pretty much all the time. You're doing pretty much the best you can pretty much all the time. Sometimes your best is kind of crappy, but in general, you're showing up as well as you know how to show up. And so is everybody else. So the more you focus on you and what your hands and feet are actually touching, what you can actually do, the more successful and happier you will be, getting your attention off of what other people are doing and on to what you are doing. So that's what these questions are for. I do have a retreat coming up for those of you who would like to spend 3 days in LA with Leonore and me, diving into your business. We can talk about that. I'll just give you I can just give you the link to it now in case you want to look at it. The deal is you just apply. You can't buy it or anything now. Whoops, that's not the right address at all.
Yeah, we love doing like really intimate, up close and personal retreats with people where we just get to like dive into looking at your business, and no matter what stage you're at in terms of readiness and development, we love working with people in person and just getting to really get into it over the course of 3 days together. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but you just apply. You don't buy it now. We won't let you. It's so you go to theorganizedartistcompany.com/focus 2018. That in the Facebook chat too. And you just apply. You answer a couple of questions, which are sort of fun to answer, even if you're never, ever in a million years going to come. And then you book a time to talk to one of us and we'll have a conversation about whether or not it's right for you. So that's what we're up to. All right. So here's question number 1. Ready for question number 1? What's the problem I solve? What's the problem I solve? So you can be thinking about this as an entrepreneur, like if I were to have my own business, or as a business owner, what's the problem I solve? You know, I help people when they get a grease stain on their silk shirt, I help them get it out. I'm a dry cleaner or a special French hand laundry specialist, whatever, or a house cleaner. What's the problem I solve? I uplift people when they're sad or having an existential crisis. I'm a poet. That's what I do. I solve the problem of how to explain the world. The problem I solve is, what do I do when people are stuck creatively, when they are procrastinating on their dreams, when they're not moving forward in the way they want to? I have a business called the Organized Artist Company. That's the problem I solve. And the reason we start with this question is because, first of all, that's the foundation of business. It's not what you do, because you're going to be solving the problem in a bunch of different ways, right? I solve the problem of procrastination for people, or solve the problem of creative expression for people in a lot of different ways. So be thinking about that for yourself. And for those of you who aren't interested in business, what's the problem I solve? The problem I'm solving is, how do I raise 2 boys to be excellent men? That's the problem I'm solving. The problem I'm solving is, how do I be the best possible partner to my spouse or loved one? The problem I'm solving is, how do I honor my grandmother's legacy as I move forward in my life? The problem I'm solving is what? So go ahead and type in. I'm curious to know, what's the problem you're solving? Because when we start with that perspective, a lot of other things down the line get solved, right? The other thing I love about this question is that it reveals the world in its true design. Life is problems. Life is a never-ending series of problems. That's what life is. The Buddhists said it. M. Scott Peck said it. Everybody said it. Eckhart Tolle said it. Everybody said it. The life is a nonstop, endless parade of problems. So the secret to a happy or interesting life is having problems that you are fascinated by. Having problems that delight you. Having problems that intrigue you. Having problems that pull on you. Having problems that are fun to solve, like, how much should I pay the pool boy? That's a great problem, right? What do I do with all this money? That's a great problem. How do I, grow my community and my business at the same time? That's a great problem. Oh, good. We're getting a bunch of great answers to these.
Okay, can I read some of these,
Yeah,
Sam?
please.
All right. It's so funny, they all come in at once. So Carol says, I solved the problem of disconnection between humanity and the rest of life / creation. I built the bridge.
Yeah.
Maria says, I help people through the problems they're having with their writing and their relationship with their creativity. Sherry says, this is what I struggle with. I'm an artist who happens to make quilts, quilt patterns from other quilters to make quilts. I'm trying to get into licensing my work. Is I make pretty things that inspire really does that really solve a problem?
Yeah, it totally does.
The problem of people's like lack of inspired environments. Diana Elizabeth says, I support business in giving them tools to how to be more inclusive of employees with the disabilities in the workplace. Awesome. Crystal says, I'm helping people capture their family stories and histories for future generations beyond your basic ancestry.com. Love it. I'm helping students to use their language to communicate. I help people find connection to the universe through an understanding of who they are and their purpose.
Yeah.
There's a question, what if you don't like the problem you solve and you want to change it?
Yeah, so that's a great clue to like, oh, I'm not leading a happy life because I am bored silly by the problems I'm solving, right? And sometimes that can be accomplished by changing what you're doing, or changing who you're doing it for. But it may just be a question of reframing the problem too, right? I mean, I know a lot of moms of young kids, and it feels like the problem they're constantly solving is like, how do I get the Cheerios out of the back seat? How do I get them to not bother me after 9 o'clock? How do I get this iPad out of their hands? How do I make sure they're fed? How to make sure they stay alive until they're 18? How to make sure I don't kill them today? And that and when we're solving what feels like little problems, we feel little and we feel stressed out. And you guys have a huge amount of creativity and a huge amount of intellect and a huge amount of life experience. And so to pour all of who you are into the tiny, tiny teacup of, what some people might define parenting as, or what some people might define a customer service job as, or an office job or an executive job, like it's going to feel small and it's going to feel frustrating and it's going to feel confining. But if you open yourself up to like, okay, I've got this job at Starbucks. So part of the problem I solve is just getting people their beverage in a timely manner. That's the job description, but it's not necessarily the problem you solve. So the problem you solve could be, I help people feel connected in a world that is increasingly disconnected. I help give people a sense of home. I help people connect with with the warmth of my smile, the warmth of my coffee. And now, once we're like, the problem I solve is connection. Now we can start to see all kinds of ways. Like now I'm not just handing you a latte, I'm looking you in the eyes and I'm asking you how you are. And I'm really paying attention to my coworkers and I'm really paying attention to my own inner connection. What am I connected to? And you can see how even the simplest, tiniest things become prayer. This is where work becomes meditation. This is where work becomes spiritual work. And it also gives you just a lot of wiggle room. I remember years ago, I started teaching the Get It Done workshop, the genesis of the Organized Artists Company, like in 2001 or something. And it was just one of a lot of things I was doing. I was always really interested in helping creative people get their work out into the world. And at one point I was like, oh, I know, I should have one of those shops, one of those like antique malls, but for creative people where like everybody kind of has their, not a booth, but like they have a little area. And then, cause everybody I knew made stuff, everybody makes stuff, right? All my people make stuff. And I was like, oh, we could have like a cooperative and that would be really cool. And it would generate money for everybody and we could all work together and that would be really fun. And so I thought, well, let me test out that idea because I'm a big fan of testing. So I thought, okay, so I organized basically an art sale at my theater company. We had this huge parking lot, which was such a luxury. We had this huge parking lot in front of the Quonset hut that was the theater. And And we were on a really busy street with a lot of foot traffic. So I was like, great, we're going to do it on a Saturday. We'll invite all the artists we know to buy a table. It'll be a fundraiser for the theater. People can sell their stuff. It's going to be great. And we did. And it was a lot of work to put together, but there were a lot of really willing artists, and everybody pitched in, and everybody had a table, and some people made a lot of money and sold a lot of stuff. Other people, not so much. We raised a lot of money for the theater. It was, I think by anybody's count, a great success. And by the time we were folding up the tables and putting it one way at the end of the day, I was like, never again. This is not the way I want to serve people. This is not the way I am interested in working with people. This is not my thing. Just creating this retail environment and dealing with everybody's personalities, like, mm-mm. So the problem, how do I help creative people get their work out into the world? That stays the same. The how of it, you know, oh, I do it by writing a book. I do it by offering a class. I do it by offering a free training. I do it in the conversations I have at the 7-Eleven, you know, I do it all over the place. Carrie Ann is also here. Carrie Ann is our Facebook genius. She is like the Princess Diva Supreme of Facebook. We're so lucky to have her on the team. And she says, I help women overcome social media stage fright and give them confidence to overcome fear of being more visible in their business. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
And she's not kidding. She encouraged me. I was going to say bullied me. She didn't bully me. She encouraged me to do some Facebook Lives to promote the summit. And you guys, I was super reluctant, even though I do them a lot, like, and I have all this stage experience and film experience and on-camera experience, and I'm an improviser.
It'll be so real, right?
Oh God, the resistance is so real. Mm-hmm. And I really just didn't want to, but I had told her that I would, so I did. And this is another handy practical tip. If you don't want to do something, get some social accountability. Because for me, I wouldn't do it. But the fact that I told Carrie Ann I would do it, I did it. So I finished and I told her like how apprehensive I had been about it and how reluctant. And she wrote me back the loveliest, most supportive email about like, no, you were fantastic. And here are the 9 things that were fantastic about what you did. And here's why. And I was like, thank you very much. So you definitely solved that problem and made me feel a lot better about doing other stuff. All right, I'm going to put up my hair. Tell me some of the other things that people have said. What are they saying about their problems?
So many more. I also help casting directors and directors, producers be more inclusive in their images of diversity as an African-American actress with a disability.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you may, Diana has been a part of the Organized Artists Company community for a long time, and she actually came to the Big Yes, which was a big retreat that we did, a 100-person retreat we did a couple of years ago. And Diana gave me the opportunity to give really, I think, one of my funniest lines ever in a live training, because we were talking about how lots of corporations have a lot of money to spend with independent contractors like you guys. And some of them have money they have to spend, and they have to spend it on training, and they have to spend it on training on businesses run by women. They have to spend it on, you know, people with disabilities. They have to. And I said, Diana, and people of color. I said, geez, Diana, you know, if you were gay and a vet, you would be like, you could really make a killing. And Diana, because she has an incredible sense of humor, said, I'm working on it. So that was funny. But yes, exactly. It's a huge opportunity for you. I mean, every day, more and more. And I'm so glad you're in the world doing that work. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I teach students science and thinking about society and our future roles with technology. I help people embrace their sexual expression and celebrate exploring connection with their bodies and with others. Yes, Jess, I'm right there with you. I show my clients how to create creative, expressive lives and how to get rid of the emptiness they feel from the inability to express themselves authentically.
Love that.
Mm-hmm. I connect business with people who needed services. I help people get more playful about their lives so they're more present to who they really are and want to be.
So good, you guys.
Oh my God, I could keep going. So many good ones here. Yeah, helping people get out of the corporate career box. You know, artists who are helping to make everything prettier that they find, helping families with autism get speech therapy services.
Amazing, you guys, amazing. So notice, first of all, how compelling this is and how every single thing I'm hearing, I'm like, oh yes, I want to know more about that. Oh, tell me more about that. Oh, that's so interesting. So the next time somebody asks you what you do, respond with this. Respond with this. Respond with the answer to the problem you solve. People say, what do? You say, well, you know how people feel increasingly disconnected in the world today and sort of alone? And they'll go, yeah. You say, well, I help that. I help connect them to their creativity. I help them remind them how to play. I help, like, you do? Tell me more about that, right? So much better than elevator speech, so much better than I run a $6.2 million online business that trains blah, 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 to blah, 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 to blah, blah. Boring. No one cares. Talk about the problem you solve. You get lit up because you care about it. It's your divine designation. Like, God put her thumbprint on your heart for this work, right? So you get all lit up about it. And what's more fun than talking to somebody who's super lit up about what they do? So this solves a couple of problems. How do I say what I do? How do I not sound like an automaton or a boring person when I say what I do? How do I not sound salesy or being like I'm being pushy when I talk about what I do? If you show up just lit up about the problem you solve, that's never going to sound salesy or pushy. That's just going to sound delightful. And you may come up with some words and phrases that you use over and over again. Because, a good teaching line is a good teaching line, right? So if you can experiment with ways you express the problem. And here's the clue. Here's how you know is when their eyebrows go up. When you say, oh, I help connect people with the playful side of their sexuality, people go, oh, really? Like the eyebrows? That's how you know they're interested, right? Even if what they're saying is, oh, I would never do something like that. Okay, maybe they wouldn't, but they're still interested. And you can tell because of the eyebrows. When people experience something new, their eyebrows go up. Fun fact, it's one of the things the social services guys, who's the guy, people who guard the president?
Secret Service.
Secret Service. The things the Secret Service looks for when the president is in public is they look for people along the handshake route or along the parade route whose eyebrows don't go up. Because it means they've been there before. It means they met him before, or they're not, right? So they're not experiencing the, oh my gosh, it's the president. They're concentrating on something else. So it's a tell. It's a tell.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Isn't that interesting? I don't even know. I don't even know where I got that. It may not be true, but it's an interesting idea.
There you go.
Great. Okay, good. So, right, we're less than half an hour in, and I think that's a pretty handy tip I just gave you about this problem solving thing. Good.
I just want to say part of this whole shift of just like approaching your life with a more entrepreneurial mindset, I think is really about distilling it into this concept of once you really see that like so many things in life, relationships, products, services are fundamentally about solving different problems. It can really be a great way of cutting through a lot of confusion.
Yeah, and as your business grows, as you start to look at, oh, I have this opportunity to partner with this person or to do this other thing or to grow in this way, you can circle back and go like, well, how does that help me solve this problem? Mm-hmm. Is it in line with that? And you can watch businesses make missteps. You can see when they step outside of their lane and they start to try and solve problems that aren't really theirs to solve or that hasn't been part of their company's DNA because it all goes kind of wobbly. Mm-hmm. And we as consumers feel like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird. We don't want to buy that from you. That's weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can notice that. The other thing too, I think that what's the problem I solve gives you is a way to connect the different areas of your life, right? I think sometimes, especially when people are thinking about leaving a corporate gig or leaving a day job to start something entrepreneurial, they feel like, I've been doing this for so long. How can I leave behind my 15 years as a lawyer? How can I leave behind my 20 years of teaching experience? How can I leave behind my, 30 years as a esthetician? And you're not leaving it behind. You're bringing it with you. Everything you have been, every experience you have had, every training, every hardship, every heartbreak, and every great moment is part of what you bring with you into whatever your next endeavor is. And my favorite businesses are when people combine the thing that they used to do with the thing that they want to do. who was it? I had a woman, yeah, she was a lawyer and she wanted to become a coach, but she was really put off by a lot of the coaching world, which I totally understand.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
I share a lot of that concern and objections for sure. And she was also concerned about, about keeping her lifestyle. Like, she made a lot of money as a lawyer and she wasn't so interested in going into the personal development ghetto of, where it can be a lot harder to make the money. And I said, well, why don't you become a lawyer for coaches? And she was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, no lawyers understand the coaching world. Most lawyers look at the kinds of agreements or contracts that coaches have and they're like, you can't do this. And
yeah.
and a lot of coaches are operating without agreements and without contracts, which is a very dangerous situation to be in. So she was able to she could have everything she loved about coaching, which is working with people on their passions and helping people grow and be in that personal development world, and bring all her expertise and charge at the rate she really wanted to charge. So if you're in oh golly, what do I do? You might want to think about marrying your work and your hobby, or your vocation and your avocation, or your previous experience and what you've learned more recently. Good. Okay. So how is everybody doing with this? What's the problem I solve? Are you feeling complete about this? Can we move on? Oh, here, Star says, hi, Star. Star says, respond with the answer to the problem you solve. So good. I'm doing more art and my business is in transition. So how do I explain that? Allowing my art to win. So if I answered this question from my artist point of view, I'm combining, I need help, but here goes. I help people develop, learn, grow, love themselves and their life and their business. Yeah. I help people fall in love with their life again. I taught a class last year called How to Fall in Love with Your Life Again. I think that's a great one, Star. And I think that's exactly what you do. I think you can do it through your art. I think you can do it through your teaching, through your coaching, through your mentorship, and also just who you are on the planet. I'm just, Star and I know each other socially a little bit. She lives not very far from me. And I think that's very much an experience I have when I'm with you. If you help remind people what's lovable and lovely about themselves. And that's beautiful and marketable. Good. Okay. So let's move on to question 2, shall we? So question 1, what is the problem I solve? Question 2, why I do this. Why? Why do you do this? And that can be phrased in either the positive or the negative. Like, I help creative people get their work out into the world because the idea of someone dying with their song still inside them is untenable to me. I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. Or I could say I help people get their creative work out into the world because I think our creativity is the most precious part of ourselves, and that's what we're here for. That's our destiny, is to share our unique creative voices. So you can phrase it as something you want to see happen or something you don't want to prevent. Both are good. You can have both ways. But why? Why? What's the consequence if you don't solve the problem? Right? What's the consequence if you don't solve the problem? Or what would the world be like if you completely solved this problem? If everyone were walking around creatively expressed, if everyone were in love with themselves in the best possible way, again, if everyone understood how fabulous it is to have people with disabilities and people of different colors and shapes and sizes on a set, what would that? Why does that matter to you, right? Nettie says it's fun. Why? Because it's fun. That is a totally legit answer. I do it because it's fun. Good. So why? What's your why? There's a guy named Simon Sinek, Sinek, who wrote a book called Start With Why. It's a business book. It's a great book. You can check out his TED Talk, actually. Here, I'll put his name into the chat. Simon Sinek. And he says, and I think he's not wrong. Start with why. And Lena, can you post that on the Facebook to copy it over? Pardon me. And he says that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They're not buying what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you can really be communicating your why with people successfully, you won't be able to stop them from buying from you. You won't be able to stop them. Not that some of you haven't tried. Some of you have been swatting money away, and we're going to talk about that. Get that money away from me. Can I pay you for this? No, 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 no. Stop it. Stop swatting money away. Good. So why? Mariah says, for me, it's a spiritual thing. I believe people are called by spirit to do things, and I know how it feels not to do what spirit has called you to do. It feels like you're dead inside. So you actually want to die. Yeah, it's terrible. I love to see my students and clients come alive when they finally get their stories out and when the clarity on the truth that is trying to come through them. Yes. 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 Gail says, this is very helpful to put words in my mouth. Good. Crystal says, many memories are contained in photos or physical items. We need a way to capture those memories and stories to pass on to future generations, not necessarily by keeping the physical things. Oh, amen, Crystal. Amen. All right, now I'm just flashing on, like, if you had a business that was like a decluttering memory preservation process where you could help people let go of the stuff and preserve them, like even you video them walking around going like, oh, I have this brush because, of this, that, like recording some, like the memories would stay. That's a cool idea. I don't know if you want to do it or not, but it's a cool idea. Diana says, because I honestly believe what I feel God called me to do. And because of my personal experience with disability, I'm aware of the barriers that exist and want to do what I can to break down those barriers through my skills as an actor and facilitator. Yeah. Yeah. That's excellent. Leonor, go ahead and read a couple others of those. These are so great.
Because I believe that the world is built on the strength of our relationships. I get a physical rush from connecting with other people and moving them emotionally. I love inspiring others to make and believe that good design makes people feel good. It's definitely true. I feel that what God called me to do is this, and because of my personal experience with disability, I'm aware of the barriers that exist. Yeah. I'm going to do what I can do to break down those barriers.
So good. Yeah. So again, next time somebody, you get into a conversation, share your why. Have it be on your website. Have it be on your About Us page. If you can tell people what your because is, they will be connecting with you on a deeper level. And just like if I'm thinking about everybody, like I'm looking for a new dentist now, as it happens. And and if I could find a dentist who said, I do, I'm assuming they do the general services of dentistry. But if they shared with me that their why was because they love to see people smile more, or because, they know everybody's afraid of the dentist. This is another animal thing, right? Like the eyebrows. We get very uptight as animals when somebody else's hands are by our face or in our mouth. Makeup artists will tell you all the time in Hollywood that people stop breathing and pass out when they're getting their makeup done because we just get, because it's stressful for us, right? Even worse, hand to the back of the neck. Like our animal self is like, no, not safe. And why it's so intimate. This is why we do this with people we love. We touch their faces, we touch their mouths. That's how we know we're connected with somebody. But if somebody said, I'm a dentist and I want to remove that fear for people, I want them to love dental hygiene, I would like that. I would sign up so fast. I would pay double for somebody with that kind of a mission, right? Yes, because I believe the world is built on the strength of our relationships. Yes. Carol says the world would be heaven on earth if we connected in love with all of life. Peace. We all live, would survive and thrive. It's the golden rule in complete form. I do it because I can see it and it's beautiful.
I'm on a mission to end mediocre art. It pains me to see people struggle with art making because of their perfectionism, when the solution to joyful self-expression is so free and easy. Oh my God, totally.
Right? Okay, so again, notice your reaction to what other people are typing and saying, right? Notice how like interesting it is, like how plugged in you get, because uh how like a flame it is. It's like a bonfire on a hill. You're like, what is that? What's going on up there? And I realize it can feel really vulnerable, especially when you're talking about God or spirit, especially when you're talking about big ideas. Like, there are definitely people who will say, oh, okay, Pollyanna rose-colored glasses girl, fine, sure, yeah, that's what you're doing. You're healing the planet, sure. Those people have to wake up and be them every day. We don't worry about those people. We don't worry about those people. Because the people we want to work with are the people who also are connected with that why. It may not be their why, but they get it. They get our why, right? Somebody's answering, because I love it. And that's a great answer too. And I urge you to go a little bit deeper with yourself. Like, what is it that you love about it? I do this because I love it. What is it that you love? What's the world you're working towards? What's the world you want to build? Okay. Star says, my why and why I do it, because it worked for me. If I solve the problem, if I solve this problem, we would have world peace, literally. And the world needs more love, because love always wins. Even in shitty situations, love is the answer. Oh, amen, sister. Amen. Good. So, and again, for those of you who get stuck, this is the practical part now. For those of you who get stuck on like, oh, I don't know what to say in my brochures. I don't know what to say in my emails. I don't know what to say on my website. Say this. Say this. Talk about your why. And if you don't want to say the big version of the why, just give an example of the why. Right? I do this work because one time I had a client who this, and we worked together and they got this result. This change happened. This was made better for them. And again, that's the best possible kind of marketing. Even slightly better is to get the customer themselves to write or make a little video of them saying, wow, I was really struggling with this. I worked with Leonore and she taught me this, and now I have this experience in the world. That's the best possible marketing. And if you're new to it and you don't have a lot of clients or success stories yet, make one up. And you say it's made up. I'm not saying you trick people. Of course not. Of course not. But you can say, I imagine a client who, or imagine if there was a person who this, and they had this problem and they had this experience, and then the world was this way for them, right? It doesn't have to be, it can be an apocryphal story, right? And again, it turns, I hear from people all the time about the marketing. Like, I hate marketing. I hate it. I hate marketing. Poor marketing. Marketing doesn't talk about you that way. Marketing loves you.
Yeah, totally. That's, if you're going to embark on this journey of entrepreneurship, we invite you to shift your mindset about that.
Fall in love with marketing. Till it doesn't become something you have to do. It becomes something you get to do. And that's how I think of it. If I get to write about helping people uncork their creativity, I'm there. Like, I don't have to force myself to do that. I don't have to put it on the calendar. I don't have to schedule it. I don't have to have a coach to tell me to do it. I love to do that. I'm jumping off the couch to do that. Right? And it's one of the reasons why people get on my email list and stay there forever, because they get value out of the emails, even the people who never buy anything. And believe me, 97% of the people on my list never buy anything. But they get inspiration. They get reconnected with that part of themselves that wants to be creatively inspired. So even when I'm saying, hey, buy this thing, there's still something in there about my why. And that lights them up, right? We all light up like little candles when we get people's why. Diana says, I always have participants fill out an evaluation after one of my workshops. It really helps me learn what worked and what was less effective. So smart. Never do anything without evaluation. Never do anything, formally or informally, but getting their exact language too about what they loved and why they loved it. Gold.
Yeah.
Good. You guys are doing so great. Stars grooving on the idea about getting rid of stuff and impacting memory. It's true. It's kind of a good idea. All right. So the problem I solve is, why I do this is, question number 3, who I serve. Who I serve. Who are the people that you do this for? Is it a tribe of people? Is it an individual person? Is it a type of person? Is it somebody with a particular demographic, right? So I worked with these people in this zip code, or people of this age range, or this ethnicity, or this sexuality, or this height, I don't know, whatever. Or people with a certain psychographic, with a certain mental profile. I work with people who feel stuck. I work with people who are frustrated. I work with people who, are suffering in some way, shape, or form. Or do you identify them by their symptoms? Right? I work with women who can't seem to lose weight after the age of 50. I work with men who can't get it up. I work with, people who have a lot of shoulder and neck pain. I work with people who, can't find the right clothes to wear. I'm a stylist. I help people dress better and feel better and be more successful in their lives. So who is it? Who is your who? Whom do you serve? Luke and I were talking yesterday about how the word whom is probably on its way out.
Oh, such a loss. Whom is such a beautiful word.
It's such a beautiful word. It feels fun to say too. Whom? So whom do you serve? It won't die here. We'll keep it up.
We're holding on.
That's right. Christy says, this is also inspiring and valuable. Thank you. Yay. If you're grooving on this, you should think about coming to our retreat. And all that means is that you're going to apply to come. You're going to fill out an application and answer the questions, which is all you need to do. And then answering the questions themselves, like I said, is just really interesting. It'll stimulate you to answer the questions. And then you'll get an email with your answers back, so you have them for your own records, and an invitation to book a time to talk with either Leonore or I to see if it's really right for you. Mm-hmm. It's in July in LA. It's July 19th to 22nd in July at the beautiful Hotel Amarano, this super luxurious little boutique hotel. So it's not like some big box place. Our conference room has a patio, so there's like sunlight and air. I could not face another 3 days in a ballroom. I just couldn't do it. There's gonna be great food. We're only having 25 people. Like, it's super limited. Mm-hmm. I know you're wondering about the price. We'll talk about the price when we figure out whether or not it's right for you, because if I just tell you the price, then you're gonna either shut down. You're just gonna not even apply because you're gonna think, I can't afford it. And that's not the right question. The question is it right for you? Because if it's right for you, then we'll help you figure out where the money's coming from. And if it's not right for you, then who cares? It's not right for you. So trust us on this one. I'm not trying to be cagey with you, but because I want you to step out in faith a little bit. I want you to expand your mind. What would it be like to spend 3 days with Sam and Leonore, really focusing on exactly these questions? And then the hows. You're going to walk out of there with a plan of how to run your business in a way that is both emotionally sustainable and financially prosperous. Yeah, I think I can promise you that. Katie says, love the word psychographic. Yes, I was very happy when I learned the word psychographic. I was like, oh, yes, psychographics. That's what I don't work with demographics so much as psychographics. Dawn says, the retreat sounds like pure magic. Interestingly, magic is exactly what we're up to. We have some magical things planned that I can't tell you about yet. I have to make it sound like a boring business retreat, but when you get in there, you're going to be mind blown. Mm-hmm. All right. So yay, I'm so glad you guys are loving this. All right, so the problem I solve, why I do this, who I serve. So for those of you who are wondering, I don't know what my niche is, I don't know what my target market is, that's your niche and your target market is who you serve. That's the answer to that question. Don't fall into the trap of everybody, my work is right for everybody. No, it's not. Even if you have something that would help everyone, like prayer generally helps, that generally works for pretty much everybody, some form of it or other. you're not marketing to everybody. You can't. You start having a conversation with everybody, you're having a conversation with nobody. The more, just like art, right? The more specific you can be in the person you're talking to, like, I help this person with this problem get to this better place, the more you will succeed, the more attractive you will be. And don't worry, Stephanie asked a question, I'll get to it, she put it on the Facebook page. But I think it had to do with not wanting to exclude people, right? I don't want to leave anybody out. And I totally feel that, of course you don't want to leave anybody out. But it's called a target market, because if you imagine a target like a bullseye, like the Target logo, you want to aim for the center, right? You want to aim for that little red dot in the middle. So that's the very specific person that you're aiming towards. But really, you'll end up catching 4 or 5 circles out, and anywhere in that target is good, right? So if you focus specifically on a specific kind of person, you will attract other tangential people. Don't worry about it, right? And if you're not sure, just start experimenting. I thought for sure when I started the Organized Artist Company that most of my students would be actors, because that was my background. That was my knowledge capital. Like, I could tell you how to suss an audition. I could tell you, how to make friends with the person who was the casting director for this show or that show, because I had done that. How do you get booked on Days of Our Lives for 6 weeks? Well, I can tell you. As it turned out, not so much. I have some actors, I have some performers, but not really more, a lot of writers and just people from all over the place. So, you'll start with your best idea, your best guess of who you're serving. And then as you work, it'll get revealed to you more and more who it is you're helping. All right. How are we doing here?
Looks good. More people sharing whom they serve. Do you want me to read that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Carol says, who I serve is human beings ready to see our all-life connectivity, to experience it and see it, and experience loving and being loved in 100% of life.
Mm.
And Crystal says, I serve people who have found themselves surrounded by all kinds of items with stories and emotions. They feel conflicted about letting them go and losing the stories. For example, when in the death of family members, now there's so much to go through. So there may be one item, but everyone has a story around it, and these are the stories of our lives.
Oh, Crystal, you're killing me. This is beautiful. There's a book. There's like a TV
podcast.
There's a podcast. Like, dude, this is a market.
This come to a couple of our events, so I'm like, yes, Crystal, take it and run with it. Jess says, I serve post-Christian queers. Oh my God, yes, especially around gender expression, kink, and celebrating their full sexual expression. Yes.
So necessary, right? And you can see how the more specific you can be about who it is you're serving, it helps people raise their hand and be like, oh, I'm that person. Or, oh, I need to introduce you to my cousin Charlotte. Or, oh, I don't have anything to do with what you're up to, but we're looking for a speaker who, right? Like, the clearer you can be. So, Carol, I love what you were saying about experiencing loving and being loved in 100% of life. I think that's beautiful. But that's hard to raise your hand to. Like, I'm not exactly sure if I'm that person or not. So the more you can get specific about what are the symptoms of not feeling that way, what are these people doing? What are they Googling? What are they looking up? What other solutions might they have tried? Right? So this, like, I know a lot of healers who are like, I work with people who've been through every doctor there is and still don't have a solution to their chronic pain. Right? And that's specific. People go like, that's me. I have tried every modality on the planet and I still have chronic pain. Like, yay. Now we know who you're talking to. Dawn also brings up an excellent point about target market, or who you serve, which is the faster you figure out all the folks you don't want as your clients, the better. And you will probably change your mind as you get more experience. I had to let go of some of the guilt around that. Dude, I will tell you right now, nothing is more expensive than a bad client. And any client you take on just for the money will never be worth the money. Never, ever, ever. They cannot pay you enough. Because when they're not a good match, it's like being in a bad relationship. It's like you try to do something sweet, but they don't care about it. And then you feel ignored. And then they give you a present that you think is stupid. And like, you just go, whoop. You just miss each other, right? And so everybody feels tired and frustrated, and everybody feels like they're getting the worst half of the bargain. So be very clear about who you are not working with. And yes, it will absolutely grow and evolve over time. I loved my friend Allison Burt. Some of you may have heard Allison on the summit. She's brilliant and hilarious. And she put up a Facebook post one time about how if you're looking for accountability, she is not your person. Because as far as she's concerned, accountability is just a grown-up word for babysitting, and that's not what she does. If you are not panting, if you are not eager to do the work that she sets before you, then she doesn't want anything to do with you. Now, that's a strong statement. And I was like, oh, yes, I love this, right? That's a way to separate the women from the girls, right? That's a way to start to go, here are the people that I want the people who are hungry for what I'm doing. And I'm going to price it high enough that those people go, oh, she's serious and so am I. Let's do this thing, right? Good. Oh, these are good.
Okay, a couple more. Diana says, as an entrepreneur, I serve corporations, colleges, and universities committed to the best practices in their diversity inclusion policies. As an actor, I serve industry professionals who want to show inclusive and diverse images of the American scene. Just a lot of typos, yeah. No worries.
No worries. We're not judging on spelling.
Yeah. It's not school. It's not school. Amy says, I serve those interested in the deeper exploration of what it is to be a human being and what the nature of their conscious experience of I am really is.
So good. All right. So again, get specific with yourself about, we'll get more into this into the retreat and other things. Mariah says, I just told a client, no, I don't do manuscript editing. I hate grading papers. Right? Amen. What a great insight, right? So, because it's easy to do too, because especially, the bill, that big bill comes due and you're like, oh shoot, maybe I should offer this service or maybe I should do this. I mean, I can. No, just because you can doesn't mean you ought. And better you just charge more for the thing you love to do than getting yourself hooked up in something you don't love to do. All right. Good. He says, yes, a big vacuum or need is a big service space. It resonates. Yes, exactly. You can feel it, right? Ooh, who's doing that? Ooh, I need that. You also, again, when you're really specific about who you serve, you help people know, like, oh, this is who I should refer you to. Like, if I meet a person who has this need, if I'm clear about who you serve, then I'll remember you. It's memorable. The truth is memorable. The truth is indelible. The deep truth is indelible. They'll remember you forever. And that's a great way to get clients, is when somebody goes, oh, I know exactly a person who does that. Talk to my friend so-and-so. All right, so question 4 is going to make you go all bumpily. Ready? How much I earn. How I get paid and how I earn. And what I want to point out to all of you is something I figured out a couple of years ago that may be one of the deepest thoughts I've ever had, which is you are always getting paid in the currency you are asking for. You are always getting paid. You are already getting paid in the currency you are asking for. So if you're asking for Facebook likes, and I hear from people all the time, like, oh, I have all these people who like my page, but nobody ever buys anything. Right, because you're asking them for likes and you're not giving them opportunities to give you money. Right? The minute you start saying, pay here, in a way that they can hear it, in a way that they can understand what's in it for them, they'll do it. You can have both the love and the money, I promise. Right? You may be getting paid in, I don't know, there was a time in my life in which I was getting paid in neglect. Like, it was important. My self-esteem was so low. It felt kind of good to me to work really, really, really hard and kind of get ignored.
So real.
Right?
It's so real. Mm-hmm.
I did it in my marriage. I did it with my friendships. I did it, and I was exhausted all the time. And I felt so depleted all the time because I was just giving and giving and giving, but also not ever asking for anything, not ever, like it matched my world.
Yeah. I think that's so real for so many of us too. Like, especially those of us with like high empathy who are used to being caretakers in situations and who are really competent and good at stuff. So like, we get stuff handled. We just do it. But I'm just so appreciating your transparency and saying that articulating that experience, because I think that's something a lot of us have and that we don't talk enough about.
Yeah. It really, I struggled with it for so long, and I tell a story in one of the books. I got home one night to like 12 messages on my answering machine. So this is how long ago it was. We had an answering machine, and every message had the person had the exact same tone in their voice. Hi, Sam, it's so-and-so from church. Could you, Sam, I know you're busy, but could you, hi, Sam, it's so-and-so from the theater company. Could you, Sam, you've done so great with this. Could you? And I was like, oh my God. And I had just come from a rehearsal with a friend of mine who is now, not surprisingly, super famous. And he's a great guy and super charming and super talented and lovely to be with, and so centered in himself. Like, he's just the most important person to him and to you. Like, I don't, let's call him Mark. His name is not Mark, but let's call him Mark. So really, an afternoon with Mark was all like, Mark talking about Mark and what's new with Mark and how Mark is really extraordinary. And now let's talk about what you think about Mark and how Mark has affected you. Like, and what are you noticing about Mark right now? Like, he was so, and like I said, luckily he's super talented and charming. So it wasn't really as annoying as it might've been with somebody else who wasn't as fun. But I got home and I was like, Mark's message machine is not jammed with these messages.
Mark, could you do this for me? Yeah.
No one would ever ask Mark to do anything because they know he won't. There's no way. If you said, Mark, would you come to this party and be charming? He might consider that opportunity, but he's not going to show up and, early to set up the chairs. Like, that's not his vibe.
Okay. So like everyone in the chat right now is like, oh my God, how did you shift that? Clearly you struck a nerve. So number one, come to the retreat. We're going to work on this in person.
Right. So step one is just the noticing, right? Calling things by their right names, noticing like, oh my gosh, I am creating this situation.
Yeah. And I think that's so brilliant because what you have to realize here is like, we're so identified with the role of like, I'm the caretaker and the achiever who gets everything done for everyone. And I'm just picking up the breadcrumbs here in the corner. And like, that's just normal. Because we're so identified with that, we keep choosing relationships and scenarios and business scenarios that replicate that experience because that in some level feels like who we are and how we know who we are. So I think there's this shift of like when you realize that it is an experience that's the result of something inside you, like you start to open your imagination to the entire like realm of human experience that's not dominated by this thing. Like it actually, there is life outside of this.
That's right. And to understand that the changing the way in which you're getting paid does not sacrifice who you are in the same way that making a move in your career doesn't leave behind everything you've been up to now. You're never not going to be a wonderful caretaker. You're never not going to be a wonderful, competent, giving person. Like that's part of who you are, and it's part of how you show up, and it's part of what you deliver no matter what you're doing, right? So step one is, just the awareness that it's happening, it's been happening. It may be something from your family. It may be something you learned culturally. There may be a lot of reasons why you do it. If you want to delve into that, this is probably not your first self-help rodeo. You've probably got a lot of techniques and technologies to dive into that. You can work privately with Leonora. She'll help you crack that code. Make some art about it, make some 5-minute art about it. Like, oh God, I'm living on breadcrumbs. Oh my God, there's a table of food and I'm living on breadcrumbs. Like make some art about that. Get that feeling out, start to experience that sensation in a new way. And then take 100% responsibility for it. You didn't cause it all. You're not the cause or source of it, but you have been choosing it and you have been perpetuating it. So understand that this is entirely within your purview, right? It's entirely within your control. And then step 3 is, how would you like to be paid? Like, make a decision. Is it in money? Is it in referrals? Is it in testimonials and praise? Is it in other opportunities? Is it in applause? Is it in rest? I don't, what is it? How would you like to be paid? And then start creating systems that lead to that. Let people know at the beginning. If I do a good job, I'm going to expect you to refer me to 3 people. If you're happy with what I do, I'm going to expect to be paid in full, when we're at the 50%, when we're halfway through the project. If I've done a good job, I'm going to expect you to leave me alone for 3 weeks because I get paid in rest. This is how we set boundaries and parameters with people. And when you let people know this is what I'm expecting, they're generally pretty good about following it, or they'll say, no, that doesn't work for me. And then, right? Nobody's being tricked. Good. Let's see what else. Just checking for questions. Okay, good.
Questions about how do I do it? And then Diana says, Lena and Sam are both so awesome. I hear you. I didn't go to a meeting because I just got back from Houston last night. I'm so tired. Knew I couldn't handle a meeting today. It was hard, but I did it. Good. Boundaries. It's all about the boundaries. Yep. And I love the ideas of payment systems.
Yeah. So notice how, and if you decide that money is how you would like to get paid, then make sure you have a way to do that. Have a price sheet. Have a buy now button. And I never understand when people are like, oh, I don't take American Express, or, oh, I don't have a PayPal account, or I don't have a Venmo. Really? Why? I would like to be paid in any way that people would like to pay me. Whatever way that is, I'm down. And I know there's fees and whatever. I structure my prices so that they cover those fees. It's not that big a deal. We have somebody on the team who, when she first joined us, she's a mom in Vermont. She does some work for us, and she's great. And she was charging a very reasonable amount for what she did, but she wanted to be paid by check. And after about 6 months, I was like, look, if I give you a 30% raise, can I pay you by PayPal? And she was like, oh, that would be fine. I'm like, yeah, let's just, because she didn't want to deal with the fees, but I'm like, no, be a professional. Manage the fees yourself. I'll pay you enough to cover it. Let's move on to another level of professionalism. And this is why, you guys, if you're into the barter thing, oh, how I wish barter worked. I know there's some people who can pull it off. There's some people for whom it does work, and I'm a big fan. Sark, in her interview, she lived for like 15 years outside of the money economy. She lived only in a barter economy, but she's magical and she can pull shit like that off. For the rest of us mere mortals, I really advise staying out of barter. And if you find somebody that you would like to barter with, then just write each other a check for $500 or whatever your fee would be, right? And treat each other like clients. That way everybody knows what the parameters are. It's better for you tax-wise, and it's just cleaner. It's just cleaner and clearer. My experience is when people are like, oh, she's going to do my website and I'm going to give her 10 massages. Well, then the website's not done and you weren't really available for the massage. And then, like, again, people just miss each other. So just, here's $500 for, 3 massages, and here's $500 for a web page, and be done. See, Katie's asking how much is the retreat. Yeah, you didn't miss it, honey. We're not talking about it. So, speaking of being paid. Just apply, fill out the questions, because like I said, they're interesting, and then you'll get an invitation to talk to one of us. And it's just a conversation. It's not like a hard sell thing, because if it's not right for you, we don't want you there. There's only 25 people going to be in the room. So we'll only do this if it feels good for you and good for us. That's the way that is.
There's the link in the chat to fill out. It's a very short application, very relaxed call.
Yeah. So there's a ton more work we can do around money and charging and sales conversations, and how do you set your prices, and how do you ask for the money. But this is what I'll say to a lot of you is, you're not even asking for the money. You got to ask for the money. Where was I? Oh, it was when I was in Santa Fe, and like The artist was standing near their work and sort of starting to like engaging with people. And there, I watched this conversation with my girlfriend and the artist, and there came a moment it's like, oh, I'm really interested in this piece. Oh, well, here's what it's about, and here's why I love it. Oh, yeah, I love that too. And I'm thinking about this. Like, they had this whole like marketing sales conversation about this piece. And the moment came for the artist to say, well, can I take your American Express card? Like, would you like me to ship it overnight to you, or are you going to take it with you now? Like, it came the moment for her to ask for the sale, and she didn't do it. She was like, mm-hmm. And finally my friend was like, okay, well, great talking with you. Just like, literally, I watched the artist go like, get that money away from me. Like, all she had to say was, well, it's $3,500, and, I have a payment plan if you're interested. But I'm sure she was waiting for my friend to say, how much is it? Which my friend wasn't going to do. Right.
This is part of the thing that we just see entrepreneurs just literally throw money away. They're like, what is your thing? You're like, get that money away from me.
No, get that money away from me. No, get that love away from me.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to work on in the retreat too. It's like looking at the ways you unconsciously do that, because part of coming into, entrepreneurship and really working this out is like deconstructing the ways we've all kind of been trained to do that. Just, yeah, it's a skill. It's something you learn how to do.
Star says, totally agree about barter exchange checks. Amen. Or just give it to someone as a gift. Sure. That's another way to go. Is just say, let me just give this to you as a present. Absolutely. Money is energy anyway. And Sark is a magical unicorn. So true. There's Rhonda Britton. Hi, Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda.
Rhonda says, I'm the bomb. You're the bomb, baby. Rhonda and I just had dinner the other night. Good. Okay. Yeah, Dinah's saying, I'm learning that lesson big time. It's not just doing my workshops, it's the prep time too, right? It's the prep time, it's your overhead, it's your knowledge capital, it's the speed at which you can work. Like, people are paying you for a lot of things, not just your hourly rate. Don't think of, I really don't advise charging hourly if you can avoid it. Because they're not paying for your time, they're paying for the result. They're paying for the transformation, right? Okay. So the problem I solve is, why I do this is, who I serve is, how much I earn and how I earn it is. Question 5 is how I get the word out. How do I get the word out about what I do? And those of you who've been with me for a long time will be able to recite this phrase along with me. Marketing is anything you do to help people know you, like you, and trust you. Marketing is anything you do to help people know you, like you, and trust you. So at the gallery at Santa Fe, it was the artist standing there chatting about her work. That was her marketing. She was standing there telling us about herself. That was her marketing. It may be, maybe you want to have barn dances. Maybe you want to have coffee clatches. Maybe you want to buy an ad in the newspaper. Maybe you want to have a podcast. Maybe you want to do free Facebook Lives for people. Maybe you want whatever. You have to get the word out some way. And you can pick any way. There isn't a right way to do marketing. People are like, oh, I hate social media. Well, I get that. There's a lot to hate about social media, but there's also a lot to love about it. So I wouldn't, I'd investigate a little more before I wrote it off out of hand. But if you want to, if you want to send handwritten letters through the mail, do that. If you just want to, and there is a whole school of thought around, all you really have to do is just wow the fuck out of your existing clients so that they can't help but talk about you. My sister called me yesterday. She went into Lululemon and said, where's the sale rack? Because there was a sweatshirt that she'd had her eye on for a while, and the last time she was in there, it was on the sale rack. And the girl behind the counter is like, oh, yeah, it's in back. There's not that much on sale right now. And basically made my sister feel like, it's not that my sister wouldn't pay full price for a sweatshirt. It just happened that the one she wanted was on the sale rack. But even if she was, like, who cares? So the one was really snotty to her. And finally my sister left with nothing and walked into Athleta, I think, which is the Gap version of Lululemon. And my sister said, oh, asked, where's the sale rack? And the girl went, oh my gosh, we've got the cutest things on the sale rack. You came at the perfect time. Oh my God, here. And this is the one most people like. I actually like this one better, but you could try them both, and blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, so my sister picked out all this stuff. And then she's like, oh, do you have an athletic card? And Andy's like, no, I've got a Gap card. And she's like, oh, but if you have an athletic card, you get even more off. And then you'll get a discount day later, and it'll save you all this money, and it'll be so fun. And my sister was like, I love you. And sure, here's all my money. Right? So that conversation allowed people to know her, like her, and trust her. So how do you get the word out about what you do? Yes, marketing is anything you do to help people know you, like you, and trust you. And notice that, who's my favorite example? Howard Stern gets us to know, like, and trust the fact that he's disgusting and a misogynist and hilarious and truth-telling and just wrong. Right? So you don't have to be approvable, right? If what people are knowing, liking, and trusting about you is how sarcastic you are, that's marketable. If what they're knowing, like, that's, David Letterman still has a career off of that. If what people are knowing and liking and trusting about you is that you are beige and normal and reliable, great. Hi, we're the not interesting people, but we are reliable. Great. Yeah, whatever you do to help people know you, like you, and trust you. So that's marketing. So marketing is anything you do to help people know you, like you, and trust you. Sales is a sacred exchange of energy. They're two different things. They relate to each other. They sometimes, like that conversation in Santa Fe, that conversation morphed from being a marketing conversation, and it should have moved into being a sales conversation, except the woman never moved it. So how do you get the word out? And then again, that's going to be an ever-shifting sand. It can be fun. It can be creative. I send poems through the email. Like, I built a 6-figure business on poetry, people. Anything can work. Star says she loves it that I tell your sister stories about shopping. Please, girl, please. What else do I do? All right. The problem I solve, why I do this, who I serve, how much I earn, how I get the word out. And now here's the big juicy one, who I need to be.
Ooh. Let's just drop into that one.
Who do you need to be, or whom do you need to be?
I think it's who do you need to be?
I need to be, he needs to be, I need to be. Yeah, you're right. Who do you need to be? You're right. Phew. Who do you need to be? Who are you being called to be? Who are you inspired to be? Who are you growing to become? And it is not 100% different than the person you are right now. It is 1 degree different than the person you are right now. It is 1% adjustment. Who do I need to be to pull this off? I need to be someone who is okay with stating her price. So I'm going to get a coach and I'm going to practice stating my price. I'm going to walk around all day long going, I charge $1,000. $1,000 is what I charge. How much do I charge? It's $1,000. I'm going to practice it until I feel great saying it. Who do I need to be? I need to be somebody who gets a full night's sleep. Because if I'm not rested, I don't do my best work. Who do I need to be? I need to be someone who leaves work at 5 and doesn't stay till 7 doing the shit work that nobody else wants to do. Who do I need to be? So who do you need to be? Who do you need to be? Sarah says, oh my God, I love the way you break everything down and make it simple. Sarah, welcome to my magic. I have to say, I've got skills in a lot of things, but that's pretty much the gift God gave me was how to take things that seem scary and complicated and break them down to have them be really simple and doable and easy and fun. So thank you for noticing. I feel seen and appreciated because that's the thing I love most. And again, but also you all, it's not that hard. This is not that hard. This is partly why I do what I do, is because once I figured it out, I was like, oh my God, this is easy. And creative, artistic, spiritual people do this stuff all the time. They just don't know they're doing it. So like we clarify it and make it some steps. It's super easy. And there's no reason why you can't make a bundle doing what you love, doing work that's important. And then you have more to give and more to share and more to invest and more to give away. And it's a win, 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 right? Dawn says the only thing that's hard is getting out of your own way and doing it. Amen, sister. Sherry says, I need to be someone who believes in their skills and that can, at the end of the day, I can hustle and make it work. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you are. You are. Who do I need to be? Good. And this is, this is a point of inquiry. This is a point of meditation. You heard us talk a lot on the summit about how entrepreneurship is the single best tool for personal development and spiritual growth. And this is why. I need to be braver. I need to be louder. I need to be more fragile. I need to be more vulnerable. I need to be, he says, I need to be someone who takes seriously what I love. Yes.
I need to be someone who's willing to ask for what I'm worth.
I
need to be much more straightforward in how I communicate.
Yeah. I need to be somebody who's willing to learn about the complicated technology stuff.
Yeah.
I need to be somebody who is willing to face the possible disapproval of others.
Yeah. I need to let go of this fear that there's not enough and really approach things from a place of ease.
Ruben, I saw that you raised your hand. If you have a question, go ahead and type it into the Q&A, or you can also hop on Facebook and ask us a question that way. Yeah. So who are you being called to be? Good.
Willing to ask for help. I need to be someone who's willing to ask for help. Oh my God, so key.
Yeah.
Definitely will teach you all about your barriers to asking for help and seeing how often we're like, no, I can do it. I can do it. That's like what your analogy, Sam, you're like scrubbing the baseboards with a toothbrush or something, right? And I think hopefully so much of what you've gotten out of the summit is like this thing that people are repeating over and over again, like your job is to do the things that only you can do and to make the money. That means all the, the other stuff, you're going to need to shift your relationship to that. Yeah. Okay. Sarah says, I need to be someone who does work that makes me feel alive. And I need to know my value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, you guys. All right. And then the last question is pretty simple. What are the 15-minute-a-day activities that are going to get me there? What are I know y'all are busy people. Like this idea that you're just going to suddenly pick up and do something totally different with your day, or that you're going to spend 8 hours a day at a job that drains you and then suddenly have a magical other 6 hours at the end of the day in which you're all lit up and inspired to build your business. Like maybe some people are like that, but that in my experience, that's not very realistic. But even if you already have a business, we often get so caught up in the day-to-day grind of doing the things of the business that we're not doing the things that actually grow the business. So what are the 15-minute-a-day activities that are easy within your budget? You can knock them out every single morning. What are the 15-minute-a-day activities that will help you do the work you need to do, reach the people you need to work, be the person you need to be? I have suggestions, but I'm interested to hear what you guys come up with before I give you suggestions. What could be a 15-minute activity that could make a difference? That if you did it every single day, or even just twice a week, or even ever, would make a difference. Carol says, my 15 minutes could be making those quick YouTube videos and building a little library to help me see who I am and trust what I already know and see. Yes. Brilliant. Exactly. Good. What else? What else could you do for 15 minutes a day that would make a big difference? This is a silence that some people would say was an uncomfortable silence, but I think it's like watching bread rise. I'm feeling all of you going like, I don't know. I can't, just let yourself know what you know. Let yourself guess.
Mm-hmm. Don't think about it too much. Just let it come out.
Let it bubble up.
Oh, okay. All right. Kia says, I've been doing this Braving 365 day thing. Every day I post a YouTube video for a year, so I could be more intentional about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I write user stories on how people can save their stories and memories.
Yes.
So my imagination by design and play more.
Mm-hmm.
I could spend 15 minutes a day or 15 minutes in the places out in nature where those connections are born and fostered.
Yeah, and for me, that's how I spend my 15 minutes a day, is in my daily prayer and meditation work. Either I write a letter to God or God writes a letter to me, depending on who needs to say what to whom. And it makes my life go. Like when I don't do it, I really feel it. Yeah. And when I do it, my life goes a lot better.
I could do a daily 5-minute piece of art. Totally. That's one of our great magical tools here at the Organized Earnest Company, is the phrase, make some art about it. And I could meditate with the Insight app.
Yes.
I could play with my kid and dog and however they want, rather than control it or get fussed at how it's being done. Brilliant. Mm-hmm. My God, that's an insight right there. Mm-hmm.
Star says, reach out to one person and share my project. Get feedback. Post on Facebook groups like yours. My progress. Yes.
Diana says, intentional self-care. Mm-hmm. Drawing, meditating, followed by free writing. I get a lot of ideas that way. And okay, the question is, what's something you could do for 15 minutes each day that would help you move forward with this? Was that the prompt, Sam?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So, because, I've got, you probably don't know, I have this higher end program called 365 Club Pro. We open up the doors to that a couple times a year. So if you're on my email list, you'll hear about it. Probably not till the fall, but anyway, the promise of that program is 10K in 15 minutes a day. And the question, of course, inherent in that is, first of all, what 10K? Like 10K a month, 10K a year, 10,000 people on your mailing list, 10,000 kisses, 10,000 poems, 10,000 puppies adopted. Like, what's your 10K about? And then what's your 15 minutes a day that will consistently move you forward? And because in my experience, that's what does it. It's very rarely is there some big lightning strike that creates a business that's successful. It's I had a conversation with this person, and I followed up with this person, and I sent an email to this person, and I wrote an article for this paper, and I went back and talked to this person again, and I like boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, and then the big leaps happen. It's little teeny tiny steps and then big leaps. Little teeny tiny steps, big leap. Plus, it's just a way the 15-minute thing gets you right out of perfectionism, gets you right out of overcomplicating. How perfect is it going to be in 15 minutes, right? And I will so I said I'd give you suggestions, and I will. I think the best one is reach out in gratitude to someone every day. Send a note, Facebook message, phone call, whatever. But I think to connect with clients, former clients, mentors, teachers, people you admire, people you're fans of, people, whoever. Like, if you spent 15 minutes a day writing a gratitude note to someone specific and getting it to them, I guarantee your life would transform. There are also studies that actually is a really effective treatment for depression as well. If you suffer from depression, like me, why would I whisper that? If you suffer from depression, like I do, or live with depression, I don't know if it's suffer from depression.
Like me and so many of the people I love.
Yay! Me and my Wellbutrin 306L are hitting the road. Yeah, it's a great antidote for depression. It's just a great practice. So for instance, I could free associate all the ideas I have floating around in my head about my business each day. Right. You could just get them down on paper. What would that, or like make a mind map of it. Meditation. Absolutely. Spend time on the Facebook pages that inspire me and connect me to other soulful people. Make signs of affirmations to see and infuse belief into. proactively manage that depression. That is, that's right. That's what you got to do. You just live with it the way we live with everything else in our lives, right? Good, you guys. So yeah, Maria says just writing things down. A could do or to-do list is a huge way for me to spend 15 minutes every day. Absolutely. Spending 15 minutes on your why, absolutely. Spending 15 minutes researching, going through Help a Reporter Out. If you haven't signed up for HARO, Help a Reporter Out, that's where, you know how when reporters when they write articles for magazines or in newspapers, and they're like, Sandra, a dental hygienist in Southampton, suffers from diverticulitis, and what she does is then she, they have stories from people, or they consult experts, like so-and-so, a foot expert, says blah, blah, blah. They find those people to quote, those stories to tell, and those experts to quote through something called Help a Reporter Out. So you can sign up and you'll get an email like twice a day. And here's everybody that's looking. We're looking for people who've sold their house in the last 3 months by themselves. We're looking for people who do ecologically sound Christmas gifts. We're looking for jewelry designers. We're looking for women over 40 who just lost their house. I don't know. Believe me, at some point they'll be looking for you, and you can then apply, and then you can be quoted in newspapers as an expert. Good. Jess says the two things that popped into my head are meditative masturbation and writing the things I know to be true about shame and spirituality and sexuality that I know to be true, regardless if I'm ready to share them with the world yet. Yes to that. Crystal says spend 15 minutes writing down possible ideas on this project. Exactly. So many of you are trying to decide things before you even put it down on the paper.
Or know what you're trying to make a decision on, right? God, isn't that's just brilliant. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what you guys let yourself get confused. I don't know what to do. Well, what are your options? I hear from people. I had a VIP client one time who was like, she got on a call with me. She's like, okay, I've got 600 things going on in my head. I'm like, all right, well, tell me what the 600 things are. Well, it turned out she had 6, 2 of which she wasn't really interested in to begin with. And then of the 4, we're like, okay, well, what's the most important thing? Oh, the most important thing right now is revenue. I've got some, okay, great. So of these 4 things, what's going to bring in the most revenue? This one? Ta-da, clarity. But if you don't write things down, in your head, you go, oh, number 1 is good. Oh, but number 2. Oh, but really number 3. You know what? Number 1 still is a very good idea. And I really meant to do that for a lot. But number 6 is actually really, but then there's 5, which I think could really bring in some money. But what about 3? That's how it feels like 600. You confuse yourself. Get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper. You will start to get some clarity. All right. You guys are great. I love you. Look, you're all still here. This is so good. This reflects so much commitment. If you're concerned about oh, do I really have what it takes? Believe me, the fact that you're here tells me you have what it takes. Oh, here was the other call to action. So if you don't want to, if you're not sure about the retreat or that feels like too big of a step, if you have not bought the upgrade package for the True Freedom Symposium, do it today. They start at $27 and I'm doing 4 weeks of classes for people who buy the upgrade things, starting this Tuesday. So it's 4 Tuesdays. They'll be recorded if you can't be there live. And we're going to talk about values. Remember Clayton Mask talked in his interview about how to have your values reflected in your business, how to have your business be a force for good in the world, how to bake your values into your marketing, into your pricing, into your conversations, into your team building. We'll talk about all that. Personal branding. We'll talk about business systems like Infusionsoft and how to use them. We'll talk about the money. We'll talk about the money, the money part. We'll talk about that. I'll answer your questions. So I can't imagine that there will ever be a time when you get to do a 4-week training with me for $27. So go to quityourdayjob.co, quityourdayjob.co. You can do it after today, but the price is going to double tomorrow. So it's still pretty cheap, but Crystal says, love, love, love the upgrade package. Best deal ever. Thank you very much. We like to think so too. Yeah, so hop on that. And then you also get unlimited access to the recordings, both the audios and the videos. If you do the bigger upgrade packages, you also get the expanded workbook, which is an PhD in growth. Like Dawn did an incredible job putting that workbook together. So many great, inspiring questions, so much places to work and investigate. And then this highest end package, you get a copy of Start Right Where You Are, one of my books, and the Start Right Where You Are course. So there's a couple of different levels. Dawn says my favorite part is always the workbooks. Yep. So quityourdayjob.co, not .com, just .co, and hop in on those 4 weeks of calls, because it's going to be a lot like this, but 4 weeks of it. Pardon me. Okay. So I'm going to run down the 7 questions again, and then we'll get to your questions. So the problem I solve is, why I do this is, who I serve is, how much I earn, how I get paid, what I get paid in is, how I get the word out, who do I need to be, and what's the 15-minute activities that are going to get me there. That's it. Simple, not always easy, but not that hard. Totally within your capabilities. You guys absolutely have the wherewithal to do this. Star says that I'm a funny, articulate, and magical unicorn too. Thank you, Star. I appreciate that. Good. All right, so I want to know what your questions are. Let's see. So get the upgrade packages, quityourdayjob.co. Mm-hmm. If you're interested, if you really want to go deep with us, apply for the retreat, and we'll talk about whether or not that's a good fit for both of us. And that's at theorganizedartistcompany.com/focus 2018. FOCUS 2018. Okay, questions. There was questions on our True Symposium Facebook page, which, can I go to that page? Will it screw things up with the Facebook broadcast if I flip to that page?
Open it in another window.
Oh.
Or another tab. Mm-hmm.
Smart cookie.
I'm an online business manager.
You are.
I did see a couple questions. Do you want me to read some, Sam?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Sarah has like so many good questions. Let's start backwards. So she liked what we were saying in our talk about picking the niche. And she says, as someone who's very social justice oriented, the pressure to be all inclusive of everyone is an inhibitor. So how do we navigate that? Social justice, intersectional, inclusive world, and the business world. It's a very good question.
It's a very good question. And here is my simple but not easy answer. Pardon me. So we only want to work with ideal clients, mm-hmm. in the same way that we only want to marry ideal people, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want close enough, we don't want almost, and we don't want people who are a bad match. So let's just be clear about that. We're not rejecting people by not working with them. We're just being intentional about who we work with. Your ideal client is, get your pen out, they need you. They need you. They have a need for what you do. They know they need you. They have an awareness of their problem and that they need to find a solution to their problem. This goes back to that first question, what's the problem I solve? We're not trying to help people who don't have an awareness of the problem. That's too big of a mountain to climb. And that's where you get that feeling of like, how can I convince people that they should get a massage every week? You can't convince people they should get a massage every week. That's an exhausting route. You want to find people who already know they need a massage every week. Talk to them, right? So they need you. They know they need you. They're demonstrating through their behavior that they know they need you. They can pay you. They have the ability to pay you. It might be a stretch for them, but they have you can get compensated. If they can't pay you, they can't work with you. Now, I realize this sounds harsh, and I struggled with this for a long time because a lot of my people are very invested in the whole starving artist thing, and there are a lot of people who are really living on a very thin financial edge, and I was one of them for a long time. It's one of the reasons why I always offer payment plans and, I had offered my Get It Done workshop. The last time I offered it, it's a $365 workshop, and I offered a 10-pay plan. You can pay me $42 for 10 months to take that class, because I remember when $42 a month was a big deal to me, right? So I never want money to be a reason that people don't work with me. So I try to remove as many of those barriers as I can. I try to do as much free stuff as I can. But if you're going to get one-on-one time with me or be in a small group room with me, it's going to cost. If you are working with people who cannot pay you, then somebody else has to pay you, right? You've got to get sponsorship. You've got to get donors. You've got to have maybe a few high-end clients that you charge a lot for so that you can do more pro bono work on this end. But somewhere along, somebody's got to get paid somewhere. So you got to figure that out. So they need you. They know they need you. They can pay you. They share your value system. They share your value system. And we'll do that values work in the 4 weeks. It's the first, this Tuesday, it's the first class. We're going to talk about values. So you can really help. This is when we talk about target market and helping people raise their hand. When you say, if you care about these things, then you're my person, that helps them raise their hand. So I hope that helps you a little bit.
Can I add something to that?
Please do.
Yeah, just that, like, I think we tend to fall into this trap, especially in the social justice world, of being like, it has to be for everyone, and if it's inclusive, there's something wrong with it. But actually, like, the most effective social justice initiatives are really targeted and specific, because they recognize the truth that we need things that address the specificities of our own lived experience, right? You know, like an initiative that's like broadly for women, versus an initiative that's for Black women who have felt left out of the modern mainstream feminist movement, ages 25 to 35, working in tech. We like that.
Well, now we can find them too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We know where those people are. Those women hang out in certain places. They're online on certain websites. They're talking about certain things. There's language that will appeal specifically to them. Mm-hmm. There's images and colors and fonts and designs that will call out to them. Mm-hmm. In the same way that when you walk down the street, if there's a row of boutiques, you can walk by and be like, oh no, not that one. Oh no, not that one. Ooh, let's go in here. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. What is going on in the design of that window that lets you know that there's something for you in there? Mm-hmm. And what is going on in the other windows that lets you know, oh no, that's not for me.
Yeah, right? And in the same way that it seems like doing something that's for all women is like better, because then we're not leaving anyone out. See how that actually like does, because it's not addressing the real problems that are going on. Whereas the more specific you make it, you actually you center the people who need to be centered and give them like something that helps them work through their problem. So it actually, I think, is much better from a justice perspective. Yeah.
Good. Okay. But good question, and good to know that, yeah, that's your heart. That's mm-hmm. good. And we never want to have people feel excluded or leave them out. And we work to find ways to be more inclusive, but you got to be specific.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Okay. A couple of questions about the upgrade. People are saying, do they want the deluxe or the basic? Yes, you want the,
either one.
So deluxe is going to give you the group calls, the access to the 4 weeks.
The basic, we added it to the basic too.
Oh, never mind.
Because I wanted to be more inclusive. Originally it didn't.
More inclusive.
Originally it didn't. Originally the basic did not have the 4 weeks of calls, but I was like, no. If people have invested, then they can come on the calls. So
okay. If you want the sexy expanded workbook that Dawn made, which is really good, then you want to buy the deluxe.
And the transcripts.
And the transcripts, which is actually, I love reading transcripts. And then, yeah, if you want the book, Sam's book, which we send right to your door, and a whole other program, like, you know, the Mondo version, then get the super deluxe, but it's up to you. Okay. So more questions. Oh my gosh, finding all the questions. How does the upgrade work? You will get an email with the recordings. Yep, we'll send it all to you by email. Okay. With lots of questions on the Facebook page that are just basically like, how do I get started? Is it okay to like get another job and while pursuing launching my own business? Like, how do I get traction when I'm getting started? A lot of questions that basically boil down to, how do I start?
Right. So there's not a right way. I would absolutely start with just think of it as a sliver. Like what's the like a fractal, right? Like what's the smallest possible fraction of what you want to do that you can actually do in a fairly short time frame. So like, let's say I want to be speaking to, amphitheaters of people, helping inspire and lift them up and connect them with their spirituality. That's my big dream. That's my goal. Great. Well, where can I find a room of 10? Like, can I connect with the local Rotary and be their lunch speaker? Can I connect with a church group or a book group and deliver a 20-minute inspirational talk for them? Can I just try it out? Like just do it and see if I like it. See if they like it, see what kind of feedback I get, see what I want to change for next time. I want to teach, I want to have 15 online courses, where I teach all this stuff. Great. Could you start with a Saturday afternoon workshop? Charge $99, get 8 people in the room and teach them one small part of it. And again, just get into that process of like, what does it take to get someone in the room? What of what you're doing really works? What doesn't? I want to be a writer. I want to publish my book. Great. Well, what's the smallest part of that? Can you fill up an index card every day? Can you spend 15 minutes writing your book every day? Can you spend 15 minutes on your book proposal every day? So just pick a point of entry that feels sort of good, a little scary, but good. Feels like, oh yeah, like I could do that. That's what you're looking for, is that sound that goes, oh, yeah, okay. And then just 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. I would get the money part in as quick as you can. Start charging for it, because what people will do for free or what they'll sign up for free is totally different than what they will pay for. And people who will say like, oh, I'm totally going to take your class. Oh yeah, I would totally pay for that. And then you say, great, give me your American Express card. And they go, oh yeah, this isn't a good time. Are you doing it later? I'll do it next time. Right. So you want to start finding out really as quickly as you can, what will people actually pay you for? Good. I think Stephanie had some more questions on her. Didn't she sort of have a multi-part question on the?
Yes, she did. A lot of it was different versions of how do I get started? Yeah. And another question she asked was, are there resources or guides on figuring out the logistics like taxes and health insurance?
Yeah, for sure. And you want to consult your local tax professional and the Small Business Association has some materials, although I find them very difficult to read. I didn't find them very helpful, but they're out there. Your local chamber of commerce actually can also probably help you. There's probably a small business arm of the Chamber of Commerce. There's people there who can help you. It's in the US anyway. I don't know, for those of you who are outside the US, I don't know so much, but in the US, it's fairly easy to start being a sole proprietor with a business. You need a separate bank account. You need to file a DBA with the state, but it's not that complicated. We can talk more about it in the 4-week class. And I don't want to give you too much advice because I am not a legal or tax professional. This does not constitute legal or tax advice. This is just my expression of my experience. Please don't sue me if I get this wrong. So yeah, you look, just Google around a little bit. There's a ton of resources for entrepreneurs and especially, so like I know in the San Fernando Valley, there's the Valley Business Economic Ventures or something. There's NABO, there's all kinds of networking organizations, National Organization for Women in Business. Start Googling. You'll find it. You'll find it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, great. So we can take more questions now on all the stuff we've covered today. Oh my God, so much. Every time I get to sit on these things with you, Samantha, you always spark more ideas for me. So I've been taking notes too. Mariah has a question that basically comes down to, she was contacted by a nonprofit to teach a writing workshop for them for something specific that worked really well. And she thinks that might be a bigger moneymaker than her current thing. So she's wondering, should I start a new website? She kind of feels like it's a distraction of what she's doing right now, but it seems like it has promise. So what should she do?
Let me just do this again. I would not start a new web. You've already sold them on it. So you don't need to do anything. Just deliver the program. make sure you make time for the practical magic for writers. So you can just switch the balance, right? So spend your 15 minutes a day on the practical magic for writers, spend the rest of the day delivering the 8-week, the thing that's bringing in the money right now, right? Do the work of that. And then if it turns out that you love that and you really want to do that more, then you can start to invest some energy into finding some more clients like that, or even doing a separate web page or something for them. But I wouldn't worry about any of it right now. I would just keep working on what you're doing and deliver the project that they've contracted you for.
Mm-hmm. Everyone is chiming in with like healthcare recommendations and stuff. So yeah, I think, and I don't know that Sarah is on this call with us. So just to say, if you find yourself like really going over the health insurance and the like tax stuff, the best advice is really find the local small business group or like women's business center, Diana's saying, in your area where you can go in person and just ask these questions, which are going to be like relevant to your state, your province, your city, and you'll get the recommendations to like the tax professionals or the health insurance that you need.
Right. Louise is in the UK. Hi, Louise. Great to see you. Yeah.
Olivia said, I just got my first client.
Yay!
Sounds like she's also a friend. She's willing to pay me, but I don't know how to decide my price.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So what's the, Olivia, tell us a little bit more about what the service is. What's the problem you're solving? What's the service you're providing? The quick rule of thumb for the rest of you though is Google, look around, see who else is doing more or less what you do. I know you're a special flower and nobody does exactly what you do, but sort of in the same vein of what you do. And what's the range of pricing in your, what they call your vertical in your area, and charge in the top third of that. Or if you want to be super ballsy and cool, charge 10 times what everybody else is charging. Why not? It's a great way to make yourself distinctive and stand out. And you can do what I do, which is say satisfaction guaranteed or your money cheerfully refunded. Right. Oops, someone is knocking at my door, but I think it's somebody delivering a package, so I'm going to let them just go away. Okay, Amy says, I'm struggling with my life purpose coaching business being in a lull at the same time as a dance and music improv performance project asking to be born. It doesn't feel good to squash the creative idea while I focus on recreating business income, but also I can't really do anything without income. How do I balance or see this from another perspective?
Did you forget it, Sam?
Yeah, here, let me pause myself for a second.
Okay, cool. A rare moment of interruption. Yeah, so I mean, I'm interested to hear what Sam's thoughts are, but Amy, what comes up for me thinking this is just, do you know the number? Like, are you really clear on your numbers right now? What you actually need, to make things happen monthly, quarterly? And at first I'd just go back to that and just first solve the income problem of like, what do you need to do to get that money in the door so that you don't have to be stressing and ruminating about it. And, be open to doing things differently than you have before. Like really explore that question of like, how can you bring the money in if the old ways that you were doing it have become boring and dissatisfying? Ooh, flowers.
This is what was at the door, with somebody bringing me flowers. Start your business and people bring it. This is from a happy client.
Oh, yay.
So there you go.
We did not stage this.
We did not stage this. That would be awesome, though. We should totally do that for next time.
Sam gets paid in flowers.
Sam gets paid in flowers. Thank you for your generous genius help.
Oh, Kitty Cooper's behind you like, what is this bouquet? So I was trying to like channel you for this question, Sam. So just thinking, first, solve the income problem. Like just explore the income, like what's needed to just get the base financial thing coming in.
And I actually wonder, is there a way to combine the dance and music improv performance project with the coaching? Like, is there a way to marry those two? Is there a way to make the dance and improv thing pay? But yeah, you got to have the money coming in the door some way. You can also, what you might want to do is offer something sort of exclusive and expensive and intensive, like a VIP day with you, where it's like 4 or 5 hours and it's $2,500. And, there are people, I guarantee you, there are people on your list right now who have been waiting for you to offer something more expensive and intensive than you've been offering. And so it's something that sort of won't take up so much of your time And usually those VIP days are like, there's probably a prep call, there's some prep work they do, then you spend a couple hours together, either virtually or in person, and then maybe a couple follow-up calls. But I'd offer something sort of high-end to bring just a big thwack of money in all at once. Yeah, combining the art side with the coaching side, working with artists. Absolutely. Yeah, go for it. People will tell you that, oh, artists don't have money, they're all starving. It's not true. It's not. Some of them are, but my whole life is built on people who are supposedly starving, and it works great. Oh my gosh, it's been so much talking. So here we are. I told you 2 hours, and it's been 2 hours. So I want to check, but I don't want to leave. I also said I would answer all your questions. So what else? Anything else really pressing? Diana's offering her email address. She's got some resources. She also works with artists. So there you go. Very helpful. Good. All right. So go to quityourdayjob.co and get one of the upgrade packages from the True Freedom Symposium. You absolutely want the recordings anyway, because there's no way you were able to listen to all of them, because there's 21 of them. And unless you spent kind of all day, every day watching videos, which would be a lot of Sam Bennett time. Not that wouldn't be worthwhile, but I'd be surprised if anybody actually did that. You really want to check them all out. They're all so valuable, and especially probably the ones that you skipped are probably the ones you need to listen to most. So hop over there now. Those packages start at $27. I think it's $27, $47, and $97. And tomorrow, those prices double. Still very reasonably priced, but why pay more when you don't have to? So Sherry say I listened to all of them. Yay, Sherry! So bored at the day job and listened while doing mindless work. Well, that's excellent. That's an excellent multitasking. Good for you. Yeah. So quityourdayjob.co, get the upgrade packages, be with me on these 4 weeks of calls and training so we can get a little deeper into this. Katie says, woohoo, done. Excellent. And if you're really feeling pulled to work with Leonora and I, we would love to look into that with you. So the next opportunity for that is our retreat. It's the True Freedom Focus Retreat in Burbank, California in July, the 19th to the 22nd. The Hotel Murano is so swanky and fabulous, and you can stay there. We have some special room rates, but only a few. So if you want to be in the hotel, if you want to stay with us in the hotel, then you really want to book right away. You really want to get in and start and apply and have the conversation with us like this week, like today. But if you don't want to stay at the hotel, you don't have to. You can stay. There's some lower cost places nearby, or you can get a VRBO or stay with your sister in Glendale or whatever you want to do. Good. Other questions? So apply for the retreat, get the upgrade package. Apply for the retreat, get the upgrade package. Upgrade package at quityourdayjob.co. Retreat at theorganizedartistcompany.com/focus 2018. FOCUS 2018. And did I tell you, I realized that focus could be like an acronym for what we're teaching. Finances, like let's get real on the money, people. Opportunities, how to evaluate them and not get overwhelmed. Creativity, your special magical sauce. Unorthodoxy, Sam's wackadoodle way of teaching business. We're not doing it the way everybody else is doing it. And story, your story brand.
It's like we totally meant to do that.
It's like we totally meant to do that.
We totally meant to do that.
Yeah, just like with the flowers. It's totally, we're masterminds.
Yeah.
And actually, this is actually kind of a good teaching moment, because this is what happens is when you start you don't have to figure everything out in advance. When you start putting one foot in front of the other, you get committed to what you're doing, you get committed to the vision, you put one foot in front of the other, things do sort of fall into place like that. You do go, oh, that's an acronym. Oh, look, here's a great example of how fulfilling it can be to do work you love. You make a little room for magic. Let the angels know you're serious. You make a little room for magic. Leonora, thank you so much for being here with me this morning. Dawn, Carrie Ann, I adore you guys. Michelle, you're the best. You guys are the best possible team. I'd say I would pay you, but I do. But I would pay you more. I'm so grateful to you. I can't pay you for everything you bring. I can pay you for the work you do, but you guys bring so much joy and delight into my life. I can't even tell you. So, and thank you all for being here. It's a huge testimony to how important this is to you. Don't let this like just fizzle out. I don't care if you work with me or not, but work with somebody, right? You need more help and advice than you're getting. Get it from somebody you trust and admire. Get it from somebody who's done it before, right? And move, because the world needs your work. The S in focus was story brand. Great. So thank you so much. Getting a lot of loves and thank yous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's do one more breath just to close out this circle. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beautiful, everybody. Thank you so much. Love, love.
Bye.